All right, it's Jessica Curtis-Blair from Rebel Real Estate in Woodstock, Ontario, Oxford County, and I am here today to give you all things to do with market stats in our area. So I have been following the real estate market stats for a lot of years, and I do a lot of following of what we call the absorption rate. So later in the video, I'm going to explain that to you and what that means. Basically, an absorption rate is like the only thing, it's as close to a crystal ball as a realtor is going to get as far as what's going on in the real estate market. So I'll explain to you how we follow that, what that all means, but let's start with some current stats. In Oxford County, the Woodstock, Ingersoll, Tilston Real Estate Board, we saw 95 sales in January of 2023, 4.3 months of inventory. That's the absorption rate that we're going to talk about later. And a median sale price of $599,000, which is down about 20% from January of last year and about down just under 9% from January of the year before. So I want to focus today, though, a little bit more on Woodstock because that kind of gives a broad area, but that's all actually very different from what we're seeing right here in Woodstock and what the numbers are looking like here. So in Woodstock, we have currently 2.1 months of inventory in the market, a median sale price of $615,000, and which is down about 23% from 2022 and down about just over 5% from 2021. And we're sitting at a median days of 31 days on the market. So let's pick this apart a little bit more. So I wanted to say, okay, so median days of 31 days on the market, well, that's for every price range, so that it's not really applicable to everybody, right? So when we look at, say, the up to about $650,000 price range, the median days on market was 54 days. And one sale was actually 193 days on market, which is really going to skew those a little bit. So we do know that that lower price range is selling quite a bit faster right now. And then I kind of went from the 650 and up, and that one was sitting at about 77 days on market for median days on market. So that tells me, yes, the more expensive houses are still taking a little bit longer to sell, and the more affordable homes are selling faster. We are actually seeing quite a few competing offers right now on the more affordable homes as well. So when I say that we have 2.1 months of inventory on the Woodstock market, our inventory is actually really low. 0 to 3 months of inventory is a seller's market. So we are sitting in a current seller's market in Woodstock. If you look at Oxford County as a whole, at the 4.3 months of inventory in the market, that's a balanced market because between 3 to 6 months is a balanced market. So Woodstock currently still fairly quick, the average days on the market, that 2.1 months of inventory. So what all that means is, as a real estate agent, if I want to look at where the market could potentially be going, then I'm going to do that by looking at the available inventory, because that kind of shows me supply versus demand. You know, a year ago, we were sitting at like 0.2, 0.3, 0.4 months of inventory in the market. That was extremely strong seller's market, but even 2 months of inventory is still a pretty strong seller's market. So I always follow these inventory levels, but I'm going to update you every month in 2023 to kind of give you an idea of where we might be going. Because if we're sitting at 2.1 months of inventory, January, maybe February, we'll be sitting at 2. Maybe March, we'll be sitting at 1.9. What does that tell me? That shows that the demand is outweighing the supply, and we might be starting to push into more of an aggressive market. On the contrary, if it goes the other way, that tells me that the supply is continuing to not be as much as the demand, which is what we've seen kind of over the last year. So I'm going to update you every month. We'll follow those together. But if a real estate agent like myself, and I was checking these last year, I knew that we were going to be moving into a little bit of a slowdown in the market when things were all crazy last winter. Did I know it was going to be as much and as fast as it was? Absolutely not. There wasn't any way for me to know that. But by watching the inventory levels, and I knew that in December of 2021, we had 0.2 months of inventory in the market. January, we had 0.3 in 2022. February, we had 0.4, March, 0. And then it started to like shoot up from there. So watching those every single month, that shows us that Look, guys, the demand is starting to not be as high as the supply is, right? So something's going to happen here, and we might start to see a little bit of a shift in the market. So it would be interesting to see what February brings. Those absorption rates, basically, the way that it works is it's the amount of sales divided into the number of houses available in a marketplace. So those will be different. That's why we see different numbers for, you know, the whole board or just Woodstock as a whole. And I can even break it down, and I do break it down even into neighborhoods, because I have a couple of neighborhoods that I specialize in Woodstock, to show me kind of what's going on in those very specific neighborhoods, because that's such an important thing in real estate, because it can change so much based on the location, even just by a neighborhood, especially by a price range, and especially by a city. So you don't want to just look at the board's total numbers as a whole. That's why we need to break them down. Okay, so what does this all mean? Basically, if you've bought a house in the last 2 years and you don't absolutely have to move and you haven't done anything to bring up the value of that house, it probably isn't the best time to sell that specific house. If you've bought, 5 years ago, your value is going to still be up by quite a bit. And in the, grand scheme of things, if 5 years ago I told you your house is worth what it would be now today, you'd probably be pretty happy to hear that. Sometimes it can just be a little bit hard because we saw the numbers go up so high a year ago that people are having a hard time feeling like they're down so much now. With that being said, it's all relative, right? So if you're looking at selling and purchasing another house right now, it's relative, because yes, you're going to sell a little bit lower than you would have sold a year ago. However, you are going to buy lower than you would have bought a year ago. If you are actually looking right now to go from a less expensive house to move up to a more expensive house, it's actually a good time to do it, because as I showed you in the stats before, the more expensive houses are sitting a little bit longer, and they're not selling as fast or as many. There isn't as much volume. So there's more of the more expensive house to choose from, and you can negotiate a better deal on those more expensive houses now. And the less expensive houses are selling quickly, and a lot of the time in competing offers still right now. So even though maybe your perfect house number isn't up to what it was before, it's actually a great time to sell if you're looking at moving into something more expensive, because you can get a better deal and still sell your current house that's maybe a little bit less expensive for a good price compared to the more expensive ones. As a buyer, yes, interest rates are up. It is still a really good time to buy, because there is a little bit more to choose from, although our inventory is still pretty low. But your rate that you're going to get is going to be temporary, right? And I can tell you, if we talk about prices from a year ago, we've seen where the market can go. I can promise you it will go there again. We are in such a housing crisis in North America, an inventory crisis in North America, that honestly, I feel like the second that the numbers or the interest rates start to go back down again, those prices are going to skyrocket again. So if you bought right now where the prices are down a little bit, then when they do skyrocket back up, now you've built up all of that equity instead of waiting for them to go up when the interest rates come down. So yes, affordability is a little bit tougher right now with those high interest rates. There is options out there. Reach out to me and I can set you up with a great mortgage specialist or mortgage broker, and we can get you some great options to make sure that when they do go back down again, that you can take advantage of that as well. So if you have any questions, reach out. You can click the link below to book a one-on-one call with me, a discovery call, to talk about your specific situation or what you're thinking. And I hope to hear from you soon.